Environmental, social, and governance topics have historically been on the C-suite agenda, but it's really only been in the recent years with the evolution and expansion of ESG scope that is now materially influencing the way companies structure themselves, conduct business, and serve their customers. CDOs are now challenged with how they harness the power of their data assets and analytics to advance their organizations and drive meaningful, sustainable, and measurable growth and value. Join our KPMG global ESG and data analytics leadership as we explore those challenges and opportunities faced by our CDOs.
We are live.
Good morning. My name is Helena Lihashkina. Welcome back to track 7, where we discuss global challenges. Today, we have Yong joining us from Shanghai, from China. He is gonna talk about the topic, which is actually really, really interesting about how the data practice and ecosystem is happening in China. So I had personal experience actually working with China through my Johnson & Johnson, Danone, and now in Roche. So there are so much learnings we can get from China. So I'm super excited to hear what is happening. Please post your questions on the chat. So we're gonna answer questions at the end. And I'm just introducing Yong that this is all yours. You can start now.
Thank you, Elena. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Really my great honor to see you here. And I'm so excited to be invited by MIT CDOIQ Symposium. So because of the pandemic, I could not make it in person. But the positive side is that I can still join by Zoom. It's really a great opportunity to engage and to have conversations and to learn from each other here. From yesterday's keynote, I learned that data sharing is sort of the key pillar for the CDO world. It's the key driver and the KPI for CDO. It's the key driver of the success of a CDO. On the other hand, trust is also the foundation to enable the use of data safely and effectively. So let me spend the rest of the time this morning to share with you what we have done in China to talk about the data exchange business and the ecosystems. The event organizer is putting me between now and the lunch. So let me quickly dive into the presentation and to make sure you will catch the lunch without any delay. I'm from Shanghai Data Exchange, and I had about 30 years experiences in the IT industry. Most majority of my career was with the US IT companies. 6 years ago, I joined the Shanghai Data Exchange, serving a role as a business development and business alliance VP, working with data suppliers, data consumers, and even other data exchange facilities in China to grow the ecosystem in the data market. We had extensive communications, not only in China, but also with our counterparts globally. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to share our stories here, to learn from your experiences, to build the connections, and to welcome you to join our ecosystems to develop the digital economy together. Until last November, with about 5 years experiences, we launched a new data exchange platform as per the central government's request. The ultimate goal is to work out a national level data exchange, encourage public and private sectors to trade or share their data, which has been defined by the CPC as a key production factors in digital economy. From the media coverage, you will see that the public had a very high expectation about this new initiative to boost the fourth industrial revolution. In 2020, the CPC Central Committee and the State Council added the data to land, labor, capital, and technology as a new factor of production in its field-based allocation system and the mechanism. This elevation of data is indicative of a vision for a future economy where data drives development. Indeed, according to Chinese Academy of Information and Communication Technology, a key distinction between the data and the traditional production factor is in the multiplier effect, that data can amplify other factors of production, such as labor and capital, and produce even more significant economic gains. Take an example. On the first trading day, City's power company sold a product that tracks company's power consumption in Shanghai to Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, which will use it to cross-check borrowers' credit situations. So the power consumption data become the alternative data to empower the bank to evaluate the customer they are serving. This is exactly a digital transformation example. Without the data from power company, the bank have to conduct the business in a much traditional way. Another example, when the subway or metro company shares the traffic flow or foot flow data about each of the subway station, the ride-sharing company may have a better allocation of the number of bikes in exit of each subway station, not only to improve the business efficiency, but also improve the customer satisfactions and even make the city in a much better order. There are many more such examples in finance, in traffic management, in tourism, in supply chain, in public services, etc. Data really creates new value. But interestingly, the picture showing here is referring to the nature of the data are generated in silo. We need to have a mechanism to make sure business can get the third-party data easily and legally from outside. This introduced the new concept of data exchange through a trusted data marketplace. Although we had already had about 30 plus data exchanges set up in China since 2014, till now, we never reached to the critical mass. The reason behind it is that we are facing huge challenges of how to confirm the data rights, how to do the pricing, how to make an easy access to the market, how to build the trust, and how to supervise the transactions. All those need to make a breakthrough with the new approach. In the early stage, the key driving forces are business demand and technology to support, like advertising industry. They are the early adopters. Now we are entering into the formation stage, which we all reached to the consensus that the data unleash the value to help business to do the transformation and to grow the economy. In this sense, government is pushing heavily from guideline policy perspective. Like in Shanghai, the whole city is going through the digital transformation process in governance, in economy, and in livelihood areas. Whatever you do in transformation, you may need data from outside. This pushes business and the government to look for the data resources from the data exchange market. But over time, in order to attract more trading business to happen inside the data exchange market, we still need the regulations, laws to be in place. Thus, to make sure every transaction will be in compliance with the rules and the laws. And we are seeing top-tier data exchange will play a national platform roles like the stock exchange market in China. Once we reach to that level, the value proposition of the data exchange market will be first to provide efficiency to both data suppliers and the data consumers. Second, it becomes the trusted source. And then eventually, through data exchange, data can be treated as a new asset class. As per think tank's analysis, the current market size in China only accounts for 13%. The data factor market is still in the early stage. Look at this from another angle. China has the more potential to grow if we invest in building of the market and the ecosystem. It really depends on how we seize this opportunity in this digital economy era. Over the next 4 to 5 years, China's data exchange market enjoys a high growth rate based on the driving forces like the industrial transformation, the market demand, and the policy support. Not only China itself, the neighboring Asian countries will also take the advantage of the growing digital economy development in China. At the same time, we will see that US is still leading the technology innovation while Europe is emphasizing more on the regulations and the system building. But we also observe on the industrial side, the International Data Space Association, IDSA, is taking shape and accelerating the sharing among business and the countries around the world. With a rapid growth rate estimated by the third parties, the value of data sharing is multiplied. Not only the size of the market, but also more and more transactions will be happened in data exchange facility versus point-to-point model, where business are seeking the standard and the compliant way to conduct this kind of business. Although we see the sizable business opportunity ahead, we still face challenges listed here from the fundamental theory, policy regulation side, to the industrial ecosystems, to technology development, to the best practices. All need to be tackled and have breakthrough with the new innovation. Recently, there are quite a few policy and the guidelines released, like the 14th Five-Year Plan of People's Republic of China to promote and foster a high-quality growth. A basic data system, which gives a clear definition on the rights as who can enjoy the benefit of the possesses, manage, and the processing data. All those policy and the guidelines are aiming for promoting the use of data, share data among different business in a legal way. Technology development also play a critical role to advance the way for data exchange, such as secure multi-party computation, MPC, federated learning. Those are the new technology which make it possible for data exchange among different parties, where data can be used but not able to see. From the ecosystem point of view, data exchange business is from a simple interaction model among the data provider, data consumer, and the exchange platform to a new model that involves more players, such as data broker, data evaluator, data derivative, etc. The more active players in the data exchange market, the more mature of the market itself. While in China, so far, the only country in the world to uplift data as the fifth production factor, we are not only working on the data sharing, data exchange, but also working toward a way to recognize data as an asset class in the financial sense. Furthermore, China is taking the strategic movement to explore the development of the digital asset front. In the past couple of years, we have heard a lot about the buzzword, data asset, but this definition of the asset is more on the data governance side, through which business treat data from resources to the asset in a technical way. To measure how much petabyte you have in total, but now in the digital economy age, both academia and the business are working on the way to do the breakthrough. One day, data will be classified as a financial asset, which can be reflected in the balance sheet, will have the direct economic values. China Scope Limited, a data analysis firm, has reportedly received a credit line from the bank after it unveiled a product that can draw a chart to tell the relations between the two random companies. This is one kind of the applications that recognize data as an asset class. There are other scenarios like when startup goes IPO or even when business go bankruptcy. How much data can be valued are in the financial statement finally. In the early stage, data resources are mostly consolidated on the company level, some on the industrial level, and the very few converged to the national or provincial level data centers, data exchanges. From resources sharing point of view, this is not efficient at all. On the downside, some internet giants even tend to use their data advantage to monopolize the market. The establishment of Shanghai Data Exchange would help to break the monopoly of those data giants. Over time, central government is promoting a concept to establish a tiered data factor market, which encourages the leading data exchange to play the role to integrate and work with provincial level, industrial level data hubs to use the same standard, the same ecosystems to develop a unified data factor market. Shanghai Data Exchange is proactively working toward the directions by leveraging its advancement from top design, trading rules, ecosystems, market development to influence the provincial level data exchange partners, industry level platforms to work out a new way to interact with each other by adopting the same trading rules and the shared ecosystem partners. We are also trying to build a strong ties with the connections with those partners by investing into them. A few examples, like we already invested into Shandong and Anhui provincial data exchanges. On the ecosystem side, Shanghai is leading away from the Data Exchange Alliance in 2021. Within the alliance, we may share the best practices, learn from each other to tackle the same challenges, like how to develop a way to generate more government open data to the data factor market. And this is the roadmap for Shanghai Data Exchange to join the tiered data factor market building over the next couple of years. The growth engine is from the one system, which is our key competency. Because we are just a little bit ahead of our peers, our experiences and the practice can be the role model to share and empower the Data Exchange Alliance and the Association of Data Service Providers, the two major ecosystems in China. In those initiatives, like a centralized data product registration, expand the data trading market, and empower the different data service providers, this will further strengthen our position as the national level data exchange providers. There are many ways to form the data factor market. Data provider and the consumers, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, centralized, half centralized, the tiered, etc. From top down, you will see the evolving of the data market. Driven by both the policy and the free market forces, the data market or data factor market will eventually transition to the centralized tiered model, the bottom one. Because this model has both the high efficiency advantage while enjoy the centralized management and supervision functions. But this could be the blueprint of the future data exchange market structure. It's the tiered model. Each of the layer has its own responsibility. The top is a national level exchange institution, which provides the centralized data product asset registration function. The product or the asset registration record will be distributed down to the provincial level, which means one registration step and the rest will be recognized everywhere afterwards. But the real exchange business is conducted in the provincial level. Even the provincial data exchange institute may have different horizontal connections. Each provincial data exchange institute is responsible for exchange businesses only. And once the exchange contract is executed, the actual data delivery can be carried out by the next level down. So it's very clear that each layer has its own dedicated responsibilities, from registration to exchange to delivery. In terms of the data exchange market, because of different requirements of the subject matter, the market are a little bit different. Most majority of the data exchange are conducted by API or licensing, like in the upper left quadrant. And for those tailor-made or personalized product, we call it data services, sits in the upper right quadrant. But you will see, because of the market development, more and more popular data exchange subject matter is the data set product, which have the less complexity and easy to trade in the data marketplace. So what is the sweet spot of the data exchange business? And who are the target customers we are serving? The areas in brown color are the areas we are really working on. Basically, we serve the enterprise market. and the data may from business and part of from the government open data. Currently, we don't deal with any personal related data products. The data we are exchanged include data sets, the APIs, membership accounts, and even the algorithm. Traditional data exchange are delivered by API, but with the launch of the new data security law, different data has been classified before the sharing or exchange. As per the different classification, for those now important data can be delivered by API or access authorization directly. Most of the data exchange should be done through this way, which has a high efficiency and a low cost advantage. For those high sensitive data, or for those data cannot be exported as per the vertical industry regulations, we have the new way to deliver, like using the sandbox, MPC, where data exchange delivery provider to provide a controlled computing environment or software environment. If the data are classified as a key infrastructure data, etc., there's only the encrypted way to share from technology perspective and needs to have the special approval from top down. This is the stack of the data exchange, which form from file download to API to secure kernel, from MPC to federated learning, from data set all the way to trading the algorithm. And from data collections, processing, circulation, all the way to the regulator supervision, the whole life cycle will be certified by using the blockchain technology. The whole data exchange and the delivery are within the trusted framework defined by Shanghai Data Exchange. And the whole services are all hosted in the cloud. Last but not least, I would like to spend a few more minutes to go through the new concept we just introduced last November. We will launch the new Shanghai Data Exchange. The data ecosystem, or we call the theory of the data service provider. This is really a new concept. In the past 6 years, when we talk about the data exchange business, it always refers to the data provider, data consumer, and the data exchange platform, whatever activities interact with all among those three parties. It's quite nature and quite logic, but over time, when we review the business process, we found the reason why the market is still not that active enough after the 5 to 6 years development is because the market itself is in its infant stage and its lack of some of the elements. But what is the real catalyst to expedite this development? We found there should be more parties to participate into the business life cycle. Think about a startup to go to IPO. It's not only simply that this startup goes directly to the stock market and they get everything done. They need to work with different services parties. So data exchange business is very similar to this. We need data service providers to help out. In general, every party in the data lifecycle can be considered as a data service provider. But to be more accurate, we refer to those provide third-party services from data collections, data processing, data analysis, data governance, data applications, to the compliance evaluation, quality evaluation, asset evaluation, safety and the compliance consultant, training partners, to the data brokers, to cloud providers, secure computing parties, etc. There are many different kinds of roles. Especially, there are very few in brokerage segment. Most of the SMB or traditional business, when they go through the digital transformation process, they understand they must have the third-party data to create some new applications. But because they are not from the data industry, they don't know what kind of data they require and where to get those kind of data. In those kind of scenarios, the data broker can add lots of the value to fill the information gap and to link the supplier and demand together. In each of the categories, you may find some familiar names because of each and every data service provider contributes something into the data lifecycle. they make the data exchange more easier than ever before. In this space, at the current stage, the long chain transaction model is much effective than the short chain model. Data exchange market is still under development. I would like to close my presentation with a saying that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So let's create this bright digital future with the data together. Okay, thanks for your time and your patience. Those are the update about how we're doing business in Shanghai in terms of the data exchange. I would like to open the floor to the participants for any questions you may have. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yong. It was quite definitely really interesting how the channel is looking into this. I really like your analogy in terms of that America is focusing maybe too much on technology development. There is quite a lot of governance questions in Europe, right? And China is looking at all components together, which is I think this is fantastic. I don't have questions on the chat, but may I ask maybe one of my questions, because definitely we have the big players on the data space in China, somebody like Alibaba, right? And Alibaba definitely the network and the cloud, Alibaba Cloud is so popular. Many companies that rely on this cloud. So how you engaging with these big providers to become a part of your network?
It's really good questions. So like I mentioned in the presentation, there are many big internet giants. They have lots of data, but currently they are only working on their basis, which means they consolidate all those data resources and create some data products, but they only share this within their ecosystems. They put some services to their clients. So that's the reason why we try to build some public data exchange platforms. So we can consolidate and gather more kind of data resources to provide the services to the public. So currently there is some industry level or enterprise level big data centers. But also we have Shanghai Data Exchange, other those kind of public data exchanges. Over time, I think that there is a trend that if the public data center grows and more clients, small business, they would like to go to the Shanghai Data Exchange to have more data products they are looking for. So this is kind of a balance.
Yeah, no, I think this is wonderful, definitely, because if you look at Alibaba, who is exchanging the data with the clients, and I do have my personal example from the past. We did quite a lot of work exchanging as a client exchanging with Alibaba, right? But if we look from the above, the companies, the public problems, right? So which could be potentially resolved more broadly. So definitely good opportunity. I see such examples also happening in other countries. Singapore is another great example where public is taking an ownership and looking in some areas like health, access to health, right? So I think that this is absolutely great. I don't have any additional questions, but I see we have almost 100 attendees listening. So I think your presentation was definitely really comprehensive. So maybe people are still digesting before they ask any additional questions. So I would, let me just check the chat again. Yeah, so I have a comments actually, people saying great presentation, really holistic perspective. So we definitely have a great commentary from users. Okay, so if we don't have additional questions, I would love to thank you for joining us. I know it's a middle of it's almost like night for you, right? So it's definitely a lot of passion on your side. If there are any additional questions, so I'm asking people, please post on the app, right? And we can answer questions offline, right? We can answer on the app. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, for joining us.
Thank you for hosting this session, and look forward to see you again next year.
Fantastic. Looking forward to next year. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.